Guys, my name is Siv. Welcome to another vlog, and today I want to talk to you guys about the 2018 MacBook Pro. So I don't know if you guys saw my previous video, but I did surprise my wife Mamta with a brand new 2018 MacBook Pro for Christmas. I'll leave the link for that video up here somewhere so you guys can go check it out. So we had the MacBook Pro for about 3 weeks now, so I had enough time to play with it and try out all the features. So today is going to be my review of the MacBook Pro 2018 and whether it's worth buying or not. So let's talk about the build quality of the laptop. Now Apple always does a great job with their build quality. This laptop's no different. It's thin, it's light, it feels sturdy. So the traditional glowing Apple logo at the back is gone now, but I think it looks a bit nicer. I prefer the reflective Apple logo that you get on the new laptop. I think it looks a little bit more subtle, which is nice. I also love the new space gray aluminum that they're using on the laptops. Of course, you have a choice between the space gray or the regular silver, but I think the space gray just looks a bit more stealthy, looks nice. Now all the ports from the previous MacBook Pro are gone, so now you have 4 Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports. And also Apple loses one of its best features, which was MagSafe. So on the previous laptops, MagSafe would allow you to magnetically charge your laptop in case somebody pulled the laptop or pulled the power cord. It would automatically disconnect. Unfortunately, the new laptops have lost that. But the cool thing about the new ones is that you can charge them from either side, so either from the left or right, any port will actually charge the laptop, which is pretty cool. Once you open the laptop, you're presented with the amazing Retina display. I think it's one of the best displays that Apple has. So the color reproduction on the screen is extremely accurate. So if you're looking for doing video production, or Photoshop, or any kind of professional design work, you're probably going to want that display. And it's also a pretty high resolution, 2560 by 1600. So it's a really nice 16 by 10 resolution, so you get plenty of screen real estate to do your thing, even though the laptop is pretty small. Screen size is quite comfortable to actually use the operating system. Also in the latest version of macOS Mojave, you get dark mode, and that really makes the screen pop. They've got these really cool wallpapers that change with the time of day. It looks pretty nice. So right below that you get Apple's Touch Bar. So it's this OLED strip that's right above your keyboard, and it replaces a lot of the function buttons, as well as some basic functions like changing the brightness of the display or changing the volume on your keyboard. I think aesthetically it improves the looks of the laptop quite a bit. It looks really cool. But functionally, I don't know how much we'd end up using it in the future. It does have some really cool functionality for things like Final Cut Pro. So if you are editing, you can scrub through your timeline on that touch bar, which is pretty cool. So I think for some things it's really nice to use, and I know that more applications are going to start implementing features like Photoshop and Adobe. Overall, I think it's okay. I mean, it's cool to have it, but I don't think it's a necessity. They made some improvements in the keyboard for the 2018 MacBook Pro, so they've got this thin layer of rubber below the keys. So in case you guys didn't know, the previous MacBook Pro, the 2016 and 2017, apparently had some issues where debris would get stuck under the keys, and then it would double type or not type at all. So those were pretty big issues on the previous generation MacBook Pro, which they have apparently fixed in the 2018. I mean, we're still not sure yet, but it looks like it's much better. It also makes the keyboard quieter apparently, but I think Mamta wasn't so happy with the quietness of the keyboard. Now the speakers on the MacBook Pro are surprisingly amazing. I think they sound even better than the 27-inch iMac I have over here. This is like a 2014 model. Pickup, this is Ellie. So Yellow Pickup is an app which is like the Uber for pickup services and transportation, moving. So Ellie's been doing it about I think it sounds better than the iMac. I could seriously edit a video on the 2018 MacBook Pro with the speakers without using a headphone. I wasn't able to do that on the Retina MacBook Pro, the previous model. So that's a big advantage, especially if you're using it to watch movies or music or pretty much anything. The speakers on the MacBook Pro are really good. When you come down to the bottom of the laptop, you'll see the trackpad. Now, Apple has done an amazing job with this trackpad. The trackpads have always been the best. I think it's one of the reasons why their operating system feels so smooth to use. The trackpads are extremely precise, and in this new model, they've actually increased the size of the touchpad, so it's easier to do the multi-hand gestures. It's also got this force touch technology, so no matter where you click on the touchpad, it feels even to click it because it's not actually being clicked. There's a motor in there that gives you a haptic feedback, but it's extremely convincing quite similar to the way that the iPhone 7's home button works. It's also got 2 levels of pressure sensitivity. So there's a click and then there's a force touch. So you can set up your laptop to have different functionality for those different pressures. I'm really loving the new trackpad on the MacBook Pro. It is superb. Now when it comes to typing on the keyboard, I've had a pretty mixed reaction to it. It definitely doesn't feel as nice to type on as my previous MacBook or say a regular computer keyboard, because there's less travel. When you're typing, it doesn't go down as much, but it does feel really precise and I like the way it feels. It's just difficult to describe. It's probably something that I'd get used to. It's definitely accurate to type on. I can type on it pretty fast. It's just I don't get the feedback when I'm typing as much as I did on the previous keyboard or on my MacBook Air. So that's something to think about. I wish Apple would improve that a little bit. So the base MacBook Pro with Touch Bar comes with a 2.3 GHz i5 processor. One of the big differences between the 2017 MacBook Pro and the 2018 MacBook Pro is quad-core processors. The previous ones had dual-core. So if you look at the benchmark statistics, single-core performance is pretty similar between the two laptops. But when you look at multi-core performance, the 2018 MacBook Pro is almost doubling the 2017 MacBook Pro. So that makes a huge difference, especially for computationally intensive tasks like video rendering or Photoshop, or say you're compiling a program. It's going to save you a lot of time if you go for the 2018 model because of the quad-core processor. The base model also comes with 8 gigs of RAM, which I think is decent enough for most tasks that you're going to do unless you're a crazy power user. I think 8 gigs of RAM should be enough for you. It also comes with 256 GB of hard disk space. That hard disk space is really fast, by the way. It's an internal SSD. The read-write speeds on it are really fast. So we decided to upgrade the hard disk to 512 because it's nice to have some onboard ultra-fast memory, and connecting a hard disk to this computer would be a bit of a pain and reduce its portability. So I decided to go with the 512 GB version of the hard disk. Pretty much everything else on this laptop is base spec. That upgrade from 256 to 512 was quite expensive. It was almost $200. Mamta does work in advertising, by the way. If you guys didn't know, she is recently joined as a partner in this company called Yellow. So if you guys need any design work or branding or digital, that's what Mamta does. Anyway, so she needs a powerful computer to be able to open up these Photoshop, Illustrator files, large files. She's pretty happy with the performance of the laptop. Mamta has been using the laptop a lot more than I have, so I'm going to bring her over here to give you her opinion. What do you think of the MacBook Pro?
It's amazing. I love the size of it. It's perfect for work. I recently had an interview where I had to talk about the best and worst purchases, and this was the best purchase, even though it was a gift. But it's amazing. My productivity has gone up. I have very little patience for lag, and I don't have lag anymore with this because it's super fast. So the touch bar is amazing. So far I've mostly used it for volume and brightness levels. It's very intuitive. So when you're using Word, it has features that you'd need for Word. When you're using PowerPoint, it asks you to escape slideshow, so it's amazingly intuitive. Very good to switch between tabs and switch between browsers. I always have like a million tabs open. The keyboard is a little bit loud when I'm typing, so it doesn't bother me. I like the tactile sensation of typing and feeling the keys, but maybe it's a little bit irritating for people sitting next to you. Can't quietly work in a coffee shop and go unnoticed. I think they'd keep hearing tack 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 like while you're working. I didn't even mention the best part about it. It's the battery life. The battery life is amazing. So it lasts me like a whole work day without having to charge, which is great because I like to hot desk at work and not really sit in one place and work. So I hate being plugged into things and stuff. So it's amazing. The battery like lasts like good 8 hours without needing to recharge. So that's the best part.
Now, Apple advertises a 10-hour battery life, and from our experience it seems like that's pretty accurate. You get about 8 to 10 hours of battery life, which is awesome. It's great to have good battery life on your laptop. Mamta doesn't carry the charger to work, so it lasts her for the full day. Now, another thing that they included in the 2018 model, which wasn't there on the 2017 model, is the T2 chip. So the T2 chip is a proprietary Apple chip which is inside the laptop, which does a couple of things. One is it allows for Hey Siri, so now the new laptops do Siri as well. It's a security chip, so it helps you protect your webcam feed and your audio feed on your computer. as well as encrypt your hard disk on the fly. Encrypting your hard disk is a way to protect your laptop's information, so in case it gets lost or stolen. Usually it's quite intensive on resources on your computer, so people tend not to do it. But because of the T2 chip on the 2018 MacBook Pro, it's pretty much inbuilt, so that's a great feature to have. So in day-to-day use, the MacBook Pro is a joy to use. The screen is bright and colorful. The operating system is extremely responsive, even on this base model with 2.3 gigahertz and 8 gigs of RAM. Everything opens up super quickly. I think it's because of that ultra high speed SSD in there as well. It really does improve performance drastically. I can easily edit 4K footage on this MacBook Pro. I've tried it in Final Cut Pro. It renders out really fast as well. So performance wise, I don't really see a reason to jump up to the higher gigahertz unless like 4K video is a huge part of your workflow. Now the lack of ports is a bit of a pain. The computer only has 4 USB-C ports on it. That kind of restricts the kind of devices that you can connect to the MacBook Pro. I mean, there's a pretty simple solution for it. We've got this Hitachi USB-C dongle, so that gives you all your ports back and more. It's working really well, by the way. I would recommend it. It costs about $80 and it'll give you all your ports back. But it is a bit of a pain. Something that you got to think about. You have to carry that thing around and connect it to your laptop if you want your ports back. Undoubtedly, the MacBook Pro is an extremely expensive laptop. The one that I bought cost me 7,100 dirhams. The base laptop, which has 250 GB hard disk, costs 6,400 dirhams, and that too I got a really good deal in Dubai. It is definitely an expensive laptop. I justify the price for it because Mamta is a bit of a power user. He does spend a lot of time on the computer. I mean, 8 hours a day in the office is spent on the computer. Even if it's 20 to 30% faster for her on a day-to-day basis, that's going to translate into a lot of time. And as you know, time is money. I also feel like MacBooks last for a long time. So the previous one we bought was a 2013 MacBook Retina 15-inch, which has lasted us all this time. So it still works really well. It's just that it's a bit slow and heavy now. It's a big laptop and Mamta wanted something smaller. I do definitely expect this laptop to last me for the next 4 to 5 years. If budget is a bit of a concern for you, but you still want Mac OS, I would say the new MacBook Air is also a pretty good buy. And if you're not into the Mac operating system, do not buy a MacBook Pro. It doesn't make sense. You'd probably get a lot higher spec computer in the Windows world. I would definitely recommend looking at the new Surface Pro laptop. That looks pretty cool, as well as the Dell XPS 13. I've played with both those laptops. They're kind of getting close to MacBooks in terms of build quality and, you know, overall specifications. Alright guys, that's it for the MacBook Pro review. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, do hit that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to watch more videos like this. If you know somebody who's interested in buying a MacBook, please share this video with them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.